Hello, welcome to our third part of the accessories videos dealing with crash cymbals. So just to review, the most important part is to get a good sound. Whoosh! Really think about that sound as you get ready to play your cymbals. Three things we talked about. Good stroke. In this case, I use the counterclockwise circles. Cymbals come together, nice relaxed sound, relaxed impact. They should be off-center and a little bit of a double attack. Then in video number 2, we went through the idea of how to change dynamics, where for the very soft cymbals, very small stroke, the cymbals were together without a double attack, and little by little, as we get louder, we increase all three of those skills, the stroke, the off-center, and the double attack. And it just takes lots of practice at each of those dynamic levels. This third video we're going to get into now, we'll talk about muffling the cymbals. So when you play a cymbal crash, like this, the cymbals ring for a very long time, and maybe that's not either what should happen in the ensemble or what the music dictates. The hardest part about this, and this has to do, we have the same issue on a lot of instruments, especially timpani. We have this issue on crash cymbals. We don't want to affect the good quality sound knowing that we may have to stop the sound quickly. So always remember, you still want to do all of those things we've been talking about to get a good sound, but then plan to muffle after the impact. Don't change anything you do going into the sound. It's about stopping it afterward. Okay? And so the way I like to do this is to play successively shorter notes. So I'm going to play a couple of whole notes, and I'll put the metronome on. I think this will help us a little bit. Turn the metronome down. So that'll be good. I'm going to play a couple of whole notes. I'm in 4/4 time signature. Then I'm going to play a couple of dotted half notes, shortening the length of the note by one beat. And then a couple of half notes, a couple of dotted quarters, a couple of quarters, a couple of eighths, and then a couple of 16th notes. And again, I can't stress enough, it's about still getting a good sound, but then muffling the sound once you've gotten that sound. And just to kind of go over that technique, after I strike the cymbals, I simply just bring them into my stomach, right there. I press them there. I still try to follow through if time will allow. Right there. Now don't worry if you get a sound like this. Can you hear how the cymbals were still ringing a little bit? In your typical setting where you're on stage and there's an audience, the audience won't hear that extra bit of ringing. So you don't have to worry about stopping the cymbals immediately. I think that also tends to cut into the good quality of sound. So I'll go through this exercise. Dotted quarters. Now quarters. Now eighth notes. Still a nice slow stroke. Now a 16th note. You'll notice that I have the exact same stroke whether it's a very short duration or long. The sound should be identical. So that's really important to think about. It's still a good quality sound. It's just going to be a short sound. We should think about this articulation idea, or the note duration, the same way all the other instruments think about it. When the flute or the violin play a quarter note versus a whole note, they don't change the quality of sound. They just change the length of the sound. So you'll want to practice these notes just like we did. First thing we did in the first video is just to get a good sound. Second video, we got a sound from very soft to very loud. And in this case, I think you should work from longer notes to shorter notes, with the shortest notes being the most difficult to achieve.